You left Harvard and took on an administrative position at Duke.
So the story, the way this happened is my father, as is typical of many Southerners, Southern men, started smoking at a very young age and developed lung cancer. And my mom had passed away, so he was alone and he didn't want to go to the hospital. So he asked if I'd come down and stay with him in the house. And so I basically moved down to Raleigh. It's on the outskirts of Raleigh where he lived. And I'd been down there, I don't know, 6 weeks or so when I was getting bored. And I had friends at Duke. One was Morris Weisfeld because of the Duke Journal.
Sure.
And one was the man who was then president. I had friends in the math department other than Morris, but most relevant to this is the man who was president of Duke, Terry Sanford, had been the governor of North Carolina. And my father had worked for him, so I knew him. Not well, but well enough so that he, when we saw each other, as we had done occasionally, like when my father's retirement was, referred to me as son, a typical Southern. So I went over to Duke, and Morris had mentioned to Terry that Morris was on the search committee for the new provost and had somehow discussed this with Terry. So when I saw Terry, he said, you know, we've been looking for a provost. He said, would you be interested in the job? And I said, well, what does a provost do? And Terry, being a typical politician, said, well, son, there are three constituencies in the university. There's the students, there's the alumni and trustees, and there's the faculty. He said, I take care of the first two, and you would take care of the third. So I talked to Terry and the man who was then the chancellor, although they got rid of that position later, Keith Brody. And the more they talked about what might be possible to do at Duke during that period, because it was, the research triangle was just coming into its, you know, it's just getting firmly established. This area was my home, and I had missed really living in the South. And it was a time in life also that one, or some people think about doing something else other than maybe in addition to, not instead of, what they're already doing. A book that I had read the year before was the biography of Aaron Copland. He had been a composer, and at a certain point he was deciding whether or not to do less composing and become a conductor, which he did. And he sought the advice of his grandmother, who was, I think, very old but very wise. And she said, you should take that position because then you will no longer be competing with yourself as a young man. So, you know, it's a stage in life that people think about doing something different maybe. And that was certainly part of it.
I never heard that story. That's very...
It's a beautiful story in Copland's biography.
The mathematical community probably initially thought you were crazy to do this, or at least that it was a kind of, you know, a tragic loss for mathematics.